Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Muhammad Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Alec Stephens III. Alec is the host of Bushwick Variety Show. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Alec III. Alec, welcome.
Thank you for having me here, Mr. Siddique. It's a pleasure.
I appreciate very much. And let's get started. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to get started with your podcast, Bushwick Variety Show?
Yeah, so I'm in Bushwick, Brooklyn, hence the name Bushwick Variety Show. Bushwick is a neighborhood in New York. It's a very vibrant arts neighborhood. I am a storyteller. I aspire to be the great storyteller. My mediums are acting, singing, speaking, writing, and podcast hosting is something that I found, and podcast is something that I found when I was kind of trying to figure out what was next. I had taken some time off from acting and I knew I wanted to get back to acting, which I'm happy to say I'm doing that now as well again. But creating a podcast and a platform to elevate the voices of other artists and innovators and have conversations with people doing the kind of work that I aspire to do and amplifying voices and ideas that I think the world should hear, I thought could only help me as an actor, artist, and storyteller. So that's why I created the podcast. And it's given me the opportunity to have conversations with many different people, including you, Muhammad Siddique. It's a pleasure to be here today. And everybody listening, this is what it's all about. It's about sharing ideas. When we share ideas, we actually can build on those ideas and amplify voices that need to be heard.
Yeah, wonderful. Alec, I'm so glad you said exactly what need to be heard. On the other side, Alec, is it safe to say you are the upcoming award-winning actor?
I certainly hope so. I know that this has been, or I guess we're in 2021. So let's say this is going to be a great year. Yeah. But I know 2020 was a hard year for a lot of people. My heart goes out to everybody who lost people. I also lost, my survival job in New York City. Yeah. But that said, on the flip side, for me, it's been a great time of introspection, to slow down, really look within, really look at where we are right now collectively, and me individually. And, a lot of times before this, I had the thing of, I'll write more of my own work. I'll create more things if I only had more time. Yeah. And so the pandemic happening was all of a sudden time kind of slowed down and I didn't have the excuse anymore. And so I'm happy to say I don't feel like I've wasted this gift of time that I have. And every day that we have this moment that we're having talking here, that's a gift. I think last year for me was actually one of the most productive years. And even in acting, there's a couple of projects that have happened. There's a couple of things that are upcoming. So yes, I'm super excited. Also on awards, I really try to remember, to me, the award is actually doing the work. And then if you are recognized and honored, that's also great to be awarded. But the opportunities themselves, those are the awards that I seek. So, yeah.
Understood. Award is a recognition that opens up many other doors. That's the key part. So
exactly.
You have to do the great work before you'll be selected for an award. So focus on great work. Wonderful. So, Alec, you are a multi-discipline, person, and you added a podcast to your, arsenal. So what are the top 3 missteps to avoid to create a success for yourself when you see you are successful? It could be podcast, it could be acting, it could be even a storytelling, it could be a speaking, it could be, whatever you feel, because you are in a I want to ask the diversity wherever you like to share. Top 3 missteps to avoid.
Absolutely. So I came to New York 13 years ago to be an actor. And actually what happened for me is a few years into New York, I realized that I needed to take a break. And I walked away and I did music. I managed a bar for a while. I left acting for a while. And it was something that was always a part of my life. I did it in Seattle, but I was in a unhealthy mental place and I took a break. And then 5 years ago or so, it was around the time I got married, I realized I missed it. I realized it was a part of my life that I missed. And so I came back to it. And one thing I think is regret. Regret is not worth it. Sometimes we can sit here and beat ourselves up for mistakes that we made or time away or just second guessing the things that we did. I think it's important to learn the lessons from mistakes and learn the lessons from what came before, learn the lessons from the failures that we're inevitably going to face on our path forward. But regret in and of itself is worthless. It wastes time. Like if you're sitting here right now spending time on regret, you're missing this moment right now. So I think regret is something that we need to move past. Just acknowledge the lessons that came, you know. The second one is comparison and jealousy. Those are big. I think it's easy, especially in the online world, to see people on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you know, Twitter, wherever, Clubhouse, that's the new one, TikTok. We see curated versions of people. So we don't see the struggles. We don't see the reality of their life that we all have in common, that we all, even as good as things are going, there's always challenges. And on the social media platforms, we just see the glossy image a lot of times. So I think the thing about comparison, it's good to model yourself after other people, but to also know, while you might be modeling yourself after people that are doing the work that you want to do, your path is not their path. So their path is not your path. Learn what you can from it, but just because that person made X amount of money at whatever age or was successful at this time, that's them. That's not you. Like, your path is your path. And you don't know it. You don't know it until it unfolds. But that's what's really fun. So jealousy, comparison, those aren't useful. And jealousy also robs you of community, which we'll get into later. But I think community is a secret. So jealousy, I would just say, to throw it in there, if there's somebody doing the work that you want to be doing and you're jealous, instead of being jealous, like, reach out to them and ask them questions. A lot of times people want to help you. But if you're sitting there in jealousy, you cut off that communication, that connection. You rob yourself of opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then the third thing, and this is one that I'm struggling with, and I think a lot of us do, it's about holding back or waiting, hesitating, and ultimately thinking that what you have to say and what you have to do doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. Everybody's voice matters. And I believe the more people share their voices, share their ideas, create the things that they're called to do, I believe that's how we make a better world. We can try to change systems and we can try to change, political elections. But at the end of the day, those are just a reflection of us.
Yeah.
We, people, as communities and individuals, matter individually and collectively. So I just think, don't wait to share your idea. You're gonna make mistakes, but making mistakes through sharing, that's how the idea is going to get better. that's how whatever you're pursuing is going to get better. That's how you're going to like become really good and hopefully great at what you seek to do. So,
Oh, wonderful, Alec. I'm so glad we have you on this show. You made it so simple. Don't live in the past. Don't be jealous of others. Instead of seek out help and create your own show and bring them as a guest and ask
yeah,
them good questions. They will tell you the answers. That way you can model their success. So when you're
exactly.
jealous of somebody, you're just hurting yourself. You just, as you use the word rob, you're robbing yourself. You're allowing
Hmm.
other people to live rent free in your brain. You can't even think positive anymore. It's a great wisdom you are sharing with us. So, Alec, let me be greedy. Knowledge wise, I'm not trying to be greedy otherwise. So, I'm going to ask you
No, the good kind of greedy.
good kind of greedy.
There's the good kind.
That's allowed. When you have
Yeah.
a person like yourself as a guest on the show, you want to be greedy. Knowledge, take as much as absorb you can do. I don't have to remember everything. That's why we're recording and going live with everybody else publicly. So, Alec, what are your top 3 success secrets you like to share with us?
Yeah. So we were just talking about this very topic is number 1. And that's asking for what you want. And that's all about mindset. That's all about, mindset. It's all about the mind, and it's all about asking for what you want. So if you have questions, ask. If you have things that you want, ask. And the reason asking is so important is I think a lot of times people are afraid to even say what they want, let alone ask for it. So it's like you have athletes who maybe, we all have different gifts.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody on paper, they're, 6'5", they're basically, imagine LeBron James,
Yeah.
who's kind of his body and his natural like ability, he's kind of quote unquote born to play basketball.
Yeah.
But what makes him really great, and what makes Michael Jordan, what makes Muhammad Ali, what makes the greats great is their mind. If their mind isn't in it, you can have all of the natural ability and you won't get as far as you're supposed to go. So mindset and asking for what you want. It's amazing when you ask. And sometimes when you ask, you might ask one person, they might say no. But that no isn't universe, God, like whatever you believe telling you no. It's just maybe that person right then. Maybe it's a no, but it's also sometimes guides you to the thing that you want. But you have to go for it. You have to ask for it. Which brings me to number 2. And this is, it goes to asking, but it's about community. When we talked about that. So in order to keep your mind positive and focused and kind of centered on the path that you say, if you've spent the time and done the mindset work and are continuing to do the mindset work, it's work too. But if you know kind of what you want to do, and that'll grow also. That's the great thing about mindset work. It opens up a whole world of possibility. But if you want to keep growing and keep growing in a positive way and keeping your mindset healthy, a hack to it is your community, building a community of like-minded people, finding the people who are at your level, pursuing the same things that you want to pursue. And then this is where the jealousy thing is, finding the people that are a little bit further than you and maybe way further than you, and learning from them. Now, we live in a great time right now where me and you're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
I'm up in New York, but we're having this conversation right now. We're more connected than ever, so we can have conversations with anybody, anywhere over the world.
Yeah.
So that's one. But 2, podcasts such as yours, such as mine, such as Tim Ferriss podcast, such as Finding Mastery. There's so many podcasts out there with great people to learn from. And one thing about that, though, I will say is it's really good to learn from great people. But don't forget to look for the great people in your own community. I think a lot of times people focus on famous people. But there might be somebody who's worked with maybe that person who you can get more value from because they've worked with them directly and done a lot of deep dive work that you can kind of learn quicker than you'd be able to from them. But it's about community, however you do it. There's so many different ways. And then, number 3, and this is probably the most important to me, is gratitude. Because it all works together, but with the mindset, it can be hard when you're feeling depressed or you're feeling like things aren't moving as fast. Things don't always move fast. They might be moving faster than you know it. You just can't see what's coming. Usually is the case. If you're doing the work, like, things are coming. But when you're feeling down, stop, look around, and list all the things that you have to be grateful for. And you should try to make listing gratitude in your mind, on paper, speaking it out loud, in your meditation, in your prayers. You should make that a daily practice, and it'll help get you through the harder times, and it'll help you appreciate when the times are going really well and to enjoy that moment, So those are my 3, I think, keys to not just success, but living a meaningful, happy life with purpose.
Yeah, meaningful, happy life with the purpose. That's a great wisdom. Alec, I'm sure you have achieved so many things and you have failed on many things. And I want you to answer this tough question because what was your professional failure, single most professional failure you had in your life? And what did you learn from it? And how did you recover from it?
Yeah. This is a tough one. I think, though, I think it's both my biggest failure and my biggest success, which is when I quit acting for 5 years because you're like, if you keep at something, you will find success. And acting is, and kind of the idea we have about acting and how people are rewarded, it's kind of geared towards younger people in a way. So taking 5 years off when I was around 30 and then coming back to it in my mid 30s was hard because all of a sudden I'm not getting any younger. And all of a sudden it's like starting over again. So there was a period of time, there was a lot of work I had to do about not beating myself up over quitting. But then the flip side about it is coming back and deciding that it's still important to me and still worth it. And then understanding why I want to do it now. Like that also, I think, is like my biggest success. So it's hard. But I think failure is one of the greatest teachers. And I think we can learn from anything. So on the one hand, they say never quit, but it's like, but you do. Sometimes you need to quit certain jobs. Sometimes you need to take a break. Sometimes you need to see whether the thing that you thought you wanted is what you actually wanted. And then in my case, I found out actually, it is definitely something that I still want. But I think now the good thing is that now I want to be a great storyteller. Acting is very much a part of that, but as is writing, as is having a podcast, as is doing public speaking. So acting's a part of my bigger why. So I feel like it's good to look at that. I also think, just to share with you also something that I did a year ago before the pandemic. I decided to quit drinking. And yeah. And that's something that for me, like looking back, I'm like, I think this was drinking. Like I don't have any crazy stories of crazy excess around it, but to me, it was a physical manifestation of me not showing up fully and doing the work fully that I believe I'm called to do with my heart. And so that's also another reason why during the pandemic, I'm very glad I didn't drink again, because instead of drinking, I wrote 2 plays last year.
Yeah.
I booked 2 pilots. You never know how any of these things are going to like play out. You don't know the result, but the results are the work that I've been doing and that I know that I'm showing up fully.
Yeah.
That's what matters more than the like results that I can't see now, but those are coming too. I feel them, and I know you did too, because I know your story.
Yeah.
You can feel when you're putting in the work, even through the hard times, like that things are on the way.
Yeah.
If you stay the course. So getting off the course, that's a failure, but learn from the failure. There's just always a lesson to learn.
Definitely. Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And congrats on, by the way, giving up on the drinking part. Otherwise, it would have been last year. People had so much time. They went on the wrong side, So,
yeah.
So let's talk about your podcast, how the Growth Hacking Secret community can support you.
Yeah. So my podcast is Bushwick Variety Show. I have conversations with artists, innovators, entrepreneurs. If you want to come on the podcast sometime, I'd love to have you, Mr. Siddique, hear more about your story. But yeah, you can check out the Bushwick Variety Show. It's at all major platforms. You can also go to alecstephens3.com. You can find out about some of my work there. I started a daily blog. I started that, something I've wanted to do for a while. Seth Godin advocates doing a daily blog to work on daily writing. I want to be a great storyteller, great writer. Mm-hmm. So the daily writing publicly is kind of a way to keep practicing in that. But yeah, you can go there. I have a monthly newsletter that you can sign up for on alecstephens3.com. I'm also on Instagram, Alec Stephens III, Alec the Third. But basically, I have a Patreon also. Okay. But yeah, just check out the podcast, check out the work. Really, I, of course, want to make a living from it. But as far as people, how they can support, it's really just check it out, reach out to me, have a conversation. That's what the podcast is all about. It's all about having conversations.
Cool. AlecStephens3.com. And check out the website. I did check it out. It looks great. And I want you to check it and let me know how did you feel. Okay. So I'm sure you will love it like I loved it. So thank you so much, Alec. I like to get this feedback from being a guest on the show. Here's the question I asked. What would you say to your best friend about Growth Hacking Secrets show experience when I'm not there?
Yeah. So are you really here or are you not here? Well, that's always I'm here. Yeah. What I would say about Growth Hacking Secrets, check it out. Like it's all about exchanging ideas. It's all about learning from people who've done the work and been doing the work. Mr. Siddique has had quite a journey himself, so you can learn a lot from him. He's had ups and downs, but ultimately was very successful. And his success had everything to do with doing the work consistently, meeting the right people, and building community. And he's created a whole community. I'm hoping to join the community. I know you're doing a 365 day challenge. I'd like to sign up for that myself, and I'd love to see some of you there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Alec. I appreciate it very much. What would you say as a final word?
What I would say as a final word is that we need to become the superheroes that we wish were coming to save us.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much. My final word is check alecstephens3.com, the website, so that way you can join the Alec community and learn from his the best storytelling experiences, and his acting, whatever you like, because he has a diversified experience. So I appreciate it very much on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.